Since all things are empty of inherent existence, why do they seem to be so solid and real?
Ignorance. Yeah, that's the answer. Yeah. I could go on expounding what ignorance is, but that's the answer to the question. You know, why ignorance totally misapprehends how things actually exist. And due to that, you know, how things appear to us is mistaken. How we grasp them to exist is erroneous. And then all the other afflictions stem from that.
Well, maybe just a follow-up on that, if I may. What do you recommend for counteracting that misperception of things as solid and real?
The first thing you have to do is recognize what that misperception is. Yeah. In our tradition, it's called understanding the object of negation. So you have to understand what true existence or what inherent existence would be if it existed, and see, check your own mind and see how, when you get triggered, how the mind perceives things, and or not perceive, but grasps things as inherently existent. So they say that a good way to start to approach that is when somebody insults you or criticizes you. Yeah. Because then to check, when somebody insults or criticizes us, oh, what are they saying? What are they doing? Who do they think they're talking to? At that point, notice how the I, capital I, appears to exist. Yeah. At that point, it doesn't appear to be dependent on anything. It is independent. It's set itself up. Yeah. It's in control. Doesn't depend on anything else. Yeah. And so that's how we're seeing the I when we grasp it as inherently existent. And then to start to check if the I actually existed in the way that I'm holding it to exist at that moment, yeah, then it should be either one and the same or identical with either one of the aggregates or the collection of aggregates, or it should be something totally separate and distinct from the aggregates. And then you start to check. Yeah, if the I existed in that way, okay, is it one of the aggregates? And you go through all your aggregates. Am I my body? Am I the feelings? Am I that, and so on. And you see if you can find any of the aggregates that is identical to the I, And that's quite difficult, because if one of the aggregates were the same thing as the I, then saying I would be redundant. Yeah, you could just say the name of the aggregate and everybody would know that that meant the person. But, if I say feeling is walking, yeah, that's not going to make much sense to people. No, the I is walking. Yeah, the I depends on feeling, but it isn't the same as the feeling aggregate. Yeah. So you go through each and you start each aggregate and you start, you really investigate, and, you start with the body, is the person the body, well, if I'm my body, then at the time of death, there's no continuum of the person. If there's no continuum of the person, then there's no continuum of karma. Now that completely, blows things away. So, and if you were your body, then which body are you? The one, when you were this big and a zygote inside your mom, or, your 5-year-old body, your adult body, your, senior citizen body, which body are you? So you really go through all of this. And, it somehow seems like the I maybe is the mind, because we say the mind goes from one life to the other. The mind carries the karma. So the mind must be the person. Well, no, that doesn't work either, because then which mind is it? Okay, is it a sense consciousness? Is it a mental consciousness? There's various levels of subtlety and grossness of the mental consciousness. Which one is it? Yeah. And so basically what if you say, oh, the I is the person, then since the I seems to be unchanging, then the mind would have to be unchanging. Yeah. Okay, so you go through all of this. So that doesn't work. So then you say, well, there's an I that, you check, is the I separate from the aggregates? Well, if it were, then the I could be here, my body could be over there, my mind could be over here. Somebody would really tell me I was cuckoo. Okay. So, the I depends on the body and mind, but it isn't any one of the aggregates, and it isn't the collection of the aggregates either. Yeah. So then you get to that. Oh, so the I doesn't have some kind of inherent nature that you can identify. And then, well, what is it? And then there, the Prasangika Madhyamikas have a really interesting thing. They say it's the mere I. Okay. Mere means it's not inherently existent, and it is merely designated. It's the I that is merely designated. And when you search for what that merely designated I is, you can't find anything to pin it on. And it's really like, oh, whoa, because my whole feeling of who I am, I can't find it anywhere. Yeah. And yet the I exists, but not in the way it appears to us, not in the way we grasp it as ordinary beings.